Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, September 10th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, we are currently trading off of yesterday's lows. We mentioned that yesterday's lows could be a strong low that leads to a bounce higher. And if it does, it could lead to a midpoint retest of the impulse sell-off here. That midpoint retest puts you at 34.41 quarter. So right now we look like we have a full head of steam to get us to 34.41s here, whether it's today or over the next couple of days. Again, we likely see that by the weekend here. And what that will do is give us a great key range that we can now use moving forward. Very similar to what happened back here. This sell-off right here was very much in line with the sell-off we saw over here. It was about 300 handles of movement. And this is about 300 handles as well on a 5-day range basis. Exactly equidistant type of moves. And what we talked about back here was if this is a strong enough low, we'll likely bounce back to this midpoint at 30.77.5, and that'll give us a new key range. You can see we developed in that key range, and eventually we went and saw the upside expansion targets, the 33.85 and the 35.38, which we talked about again as early as last June. And so right now we're seeing the same type of development, a big strong impulse pullback with a likely midpoint retest at 34.41 quarter coming. That gives us a new key range, and that'll help us with targets and trades heading into the rest of the year. So very important to reach that 34.41s. And as long as price continues to hold the previous session's midpoint, which is 33.59.75, we could drop as deep as 33.60, right, and still be a good buying opportunity for a continuation toward 34.41. If we take a look at the NQ, you can pretty much overlay that analysis onto the NQ as well. A strong low yesterday, a continuation higher, and what we're seeing right now is a move into 11.700. 11.700 would be the midpoint of this impulse sell-off. 11.700, once it's reached, gives us a new key range, and from there it's anyone's ball game. Obviously we've been trending up. We'll likely go sideways, maybe inside the key range boundaries heading into the election in the US, and from there we may see a breakout in either direction, but we'll have very good key levels and extensions outside those targets as well. But we got to get 11.700, and so right now this market appears poised for more upside price discovery toward 11.700 quarter over the next couple of days to seal that key range. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. What you'll see here with crude oil is we've seen a significant sell-off. We knew that a breakout was likely coming here when we got very, very tightly coiled. 21-day range was super narrow. The break was down. This was a false buy signal here that failed. Well, it was not a false signal. It was a buy signal. It just failed on a failed high. Bears were able to close through the midpoint, and that opens up a failure. And that opened up a big move into the 50% extension right here at 36.32. That's the 50% of this key level. We saw the rejection at the key range high, defense there, took out the key range mid, low, and went to the 50. Incredible move. And now we're seeing a potential bullish extreme reversal here as long as price can hold this zone here. So can it hold 37 to 37.30 today? If so, that could lead to a bounce back toward the 39.80 to 40 zone. So that zone right there would give us an impulse midpoint if that's a strong enough low. Right now, no guarantees. Crude oil has been very, very bearish, and the fact that we're still holding basically below 38.72, this key range low, still opens up the potential to see the 100% extension down below, which is 33.92. So we could still see the 33.92s ahead if price can't hold 37s today. So 37 to 37.33, very, very important for bulls today. If so, then perhaps a low is in and we could be bouncing back toward 40. All right, let's take a look now at gold futures. Right now, gold is seeing a bullish rotation here within the narrow range. We have a compression here with higher lows and lower highs. We mentioned before that if we failed to hold 1960, we open up a move into 1910. We got as low as 1911.70, and yesterday I mentioned now that we likely push back up toward the top end of the range. Not quite as high as the high, but perhaps somewhere just below that, which could take you into the 1990 zone, right, up to 2000. Soon we will get expansion out of this range, but right now we're likely stuck between 1900 and 2000, building energy in this range. Eventually, though, we may see a major upside breakout and continuation toward the upside targets ahead. This is very similar to the impulse sell-off we just saw in the ES and the NQ, finding a strong low, bouncing back to the mid, and then we may build some energy heading into the election. This is kind of what this is doing here. This is building energy, and now heading into the election, we may see this one rally as a flight to safety here, with upside targets again at the recent high 2090. Then you have 2200 and 2300 as the key range targets. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.